Hello and welcome aboard the Southern Service to Seaford, calling at London Road, Morscombe, Falmer, Lewis, that station nobody cares about, New Haven Town, New Haven Harbour, that other station nobody cares about, and Seaford. Hello and welcome to SimuDan and welcome to Train Simulator World 2. If you don't know the unlock those doors. If you don't know the format of these videos by now, then you obviously haven't been watching them. So essentially what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be driving from Brighton to Seaford in this class 313. And I will be exploring some of the stations along the way. Now I'm not going to be exploring Brighton, I've already done that in a previous video. Today I'm going to be exploring Morscombe. I'm going to be exploring New Haven Town and New Haven Harbour, and I'll explore Seaford. However, this is on timetable mode, so we will be stopping at all the stations along the route that this train would usually stop at. And the first stop of those will be London Road. So here we go. So I really like these trains. I like this sort of pack. This has come as an expansion to an expansion, if you like. So, if you play the game, you're already aware you have to buy this route independently from the game itself, and then on top of that, you then have to buy this train for this route if you are that way inclined and would like to drive this train, which is an interesting one. In most games that would be sort of shunned upon, but I think in this sort of sense, in this sort of community, it's not so much of a big deal. Correct me if you think otherwise, but it is like an expansion for an expansion, which seems really odd. But yeah, I actually really like this train, and I'm happy that I got it. But I will be doing a video at some point of sort of like the pros and cons to buying trains for the routes on this game. So yeah, as I said, as before, we've already covered some of this route in a previous video. So remember going across this viaduct in that video. I'll link it in the description below, so you can go check it out after this video. But yeah, it's fairly well realised, especially as this was actually a route from Train Simulator World 1, or Train Sim World 2020 toward the end of its life, I suppose. So here we are at London Road. Yeah, let's actually try and stop in the right point. There we go. And the key binding now to unlock your doors is nice and handy. It has made me a bit lazy though. In case you don't know, it's Y for your left hand side and U for your right hand side. Let's actually put on some of these systems, shall we? I think these systems are on here anyway. Pause for control. US, there we go. Nice little wine. Does help if you release the brakes. I'm far too used to driving the other trains along this route. You don't actually have to worry about the brakes because it's all on one handle. But yeah, it makes it a little bit more interesting to drive on this one. Now, I don't know if there's any drivers of these trains that are watching, but be interesting to have your take. To me, this seems like a very cramped area to be to be working in. Seems sort of not good for those with claustrophobia. Of course, out there it's a lot larger, but it is sort of like I can imagine that sort of having that door open. Yeah, you're sort of chugging along the track, and then all of a sudden, whack! That's going to close, sort of, especially as you start to brake, as I am then. Coming into Moulsecoombe. So I know Moulsecoombe Station quite well, having been a bus driver in Brighton. This was actually the stop I would have to get off at for the bus garage on Lewis Road. Yeah, I have spent many an hour, probably more hours than I'd like to admit, waiting for trains on this station, as well as obviously alighting here. So we will have a quick look around. The issue that we are going to have here is I'm not going to be sticking to the timetable. But we're not too worried about that. Right, let's jump out. See what I mean? Nice large area for hanging around in. So this over here is actually there's a lot more foliage going on. You kind of can't, I think there is a road over there, but you can't see it for the amount of trees whatnot here. Again, love that they've now added this in, that it's actually accurate. So yeah, remember coming across this bridge quite frequently and hanging around in here. Not entirely sure about the brickwork. I think it is sort of it's almost like orange tiles rather than brickwork like this. But yeah, that's not actually something to add. That is though. Let's add that in, shall we? There we go. A route map. So yeah, this is pretty much it. It's a pretty small station. There's not much going on here, but yeah, that is pretty well realised, that side. So you got University of Brighton there, and the way down to sort of get down there, we'll have a look in a minute. Again, so you got a ticket office here, all shuttered up. I can't remember, but I don't think it's like this. I think it's actually sort of like, I don't think you get this without the if that's shuttered, this would be shuttered, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I used to come out this way. This is a lot busier than I've ever seen Moulsecoombe Station, and I go down there and find Lewis Road at the bottom, which you can just see the row of houses along Lewis Road, but it's actually a little more set back there, and sort of you've got sort of... No, I don't want to give up control. Right, let's jump back in before it starts getting too aggy with me. But there we go, that's a very quick tour of this station. We are now running late leaving. Get out of the way. What is going on in Moulsecoombe? Close. There we go. Right. Close the doors. So this train is actually a little bit more interesting to drive, not only because the brakes are on a separate handle, but also it just feels a little bit more clunky to drive. It's kind of not so easy to stop. And certainly not so easy... Well, actually, I think it might even be a bit more punchy to get going. But having said that, having been a passenger on these trains, it can be a little bit... it feels like the driver is struggling with the train a little bit, because when those brakes come on, you kind of feel the jolt of those brakes. So, yeah. Right, so next stop is Falmouth. So Brighton has like 3... How many? Hang on. 5 stations that I know of. There might be more. Well, 6 if you go over the other way and you've got Hove, and you've got Port Slade. That might even be counted if you like. So yes, Brighton has many stations within its sort of city bounds, and this is just so Falmer will be the last one before you sort of leave Brighton, and it is where the football stadium is. It's now just about coming into view for Brighton Hove Football Club, the Amex Stadium, which is not a place you want to be driving buses to on match day, I can assure you. And I have done that a great number of times, more than I'd like to even try and count. So here we go, Falmer. Again, nicely realised with these sort of flats on this side. It is pretty much like that. And of course the Amex on the other side. So let's bring the train to a nice stop here. Open the doors. So yeah, you got the Amex up there. It's a little bit of a shame that it's sort of like this. I think there's more car parks rather than greenery there. And of course you got the new footbridge that had been installed when they built the stadium here, because yeah, this tiny little footbridge was not going to take the passengers, was it? And you got the dual carriageway over there as well. And over there, those buildings, it's not really housing necessarily, but those buildings are actually all part, well, pretty much everything over there is the University of Sussex. And on this side, all this is actually more like the University of Brighton, another campus of University of Brighton. So yeah, big on the unis at Falmer. Alright, I don't think we're gonna, I think having stopped at Moulsecoomb, we're not gonna stay on time for the rest of this. But it's nice to go into timetable mode anyway, because you get a little bit of the a little bit of change, and it's a little bit different with the other trains sort of going past, whereas you wouldn't get that if I'd done this in a sort of scenario creator, which is the way I've done it on most other occasions. Bit quiet on the inside, but I don't suppose you really need to hear the horn on the inside of a train, do you? So this bit of this route always feels like a long drag to me, both as passenger and driving it in the simulator here. But you do get all this sort of really badly realised embankment, because no embankment. Oh, speeding. Stop looking at the banks and look at your speed. There we go. Yeah, the embankment is never that green, is it? Tractor down there, look. I like these nice little touches that they add in. And speaking of tractors, there will be some more farming simulator content coming soon. If you want to hang around for that, then A, subscribe, and B, be really helpful to know which map you would like to see me play on. If you have any ideas, then let me know, and the best place to do that is on my Discord server, which is linked below. In fact, that is the best place to pretty much ask me anything. Obviously the comment section is great here, And actually, you can go to the comment section now and tell me what you think of the extra DLCs for these routes when you sort of upgrade with the trains. Tell me what you think about those, about the DLC for a DLC. You let me know what you think in the comments below. But the best place to actually communicate with me and you get a bit of a two-way dialogue going would be on Discord. So come and grab me there. Nice little bit of a clatter as we go along here. Again, need to be looking at the speed. Yeah, I know. Going too fast. And there we go, there's that horrible bit that no one really likes, where it tells you that we're going to have to slow down to 10 mile an hour soon. And I always end up slowing down to 10 mile an hour way before I'm supposed to. So bear with me if we end up going at 10 mile an hour in a minute, and we're doing that for a long way. It's not intentional. I will get this down to a T eventually. I don't just promise you, I promise myself. So down there, there's the ruins of a castle. Well, there should be. Or is that a little bit further on? That might be a little bit further on, actually. Yeah, now I'm not gonna hit the 10 mile an hour quick enough. There it is, there's the ruins there. You've got the tennis courts. So, oh, that doesn't look... You can see what they were going for there, but it hasn't worked, has it? Right, there's a 10 mile an hour sign just there, so let's try and slow it down before I get there. Now, handy little feature on I can't even remember which class of train it is, but the other train, the train that ordinarily comes for this route, is that there is a speed limiter. And that is really helpful coming through Lewes. For the obvious reason that 10 mile an hour is not an easy speed to stick to. The train just wants to slow down way too much. Oh, it's slow and boring, isn't it? Although it does explain a lot. I've waited for trains at Lewes so many times, and it's always just looked really slow with the trains coming around that bend. And you just want them to hurry up. Right, bring it to a stop. Again, if you want to see me run around Lewes like a madman and compare it to reality, then you can do that on the link that is in the description. But it would be great if you were to watch this video through to the end before you go and click on that link. Right, almost full. Let's get the doors closed. We can get going again. Now to Southease. Southease is an odd station. It's, as far as I can work out, in the middle of nowhere. And I've never seen anyone get on or off the train there. Seems a bit of a odd and pointless station. I've driven past it, and I still can't fathom why the station still exists. Why it existed in the first place. Oof. Right. Now we actually get to increase the speed a little bit. If anyone can explain why that, let's go to the back, I might actually see it, that bit of platform there, if anyone can explain what that's for, I'd be really interested to know. Again, chuck that in the comments down below, because that would be really helpful to understand what that's all about. Right, so in a moment we will be rearing off to the right and away from the main line that goes and takes you all the way into Eastbourne. And under the bridge for the 27 here. Used to be a level crossing long ago. No, that's not the right bridge. That bridge is a bit further on actually. I don't think we go under that bridge going towards Seaford. But yeah, it used to be a level crossing and caused absolute mayhem and chaos. Whoa, need to slow down 40 because I'm going that way. Yep, too fast. Nah. See, when I'm not doing these videos and I'm not talking, I'm actually pretty good at sticking to the speed limits. What I'm not good at is doing videos and sticking to speed limits because I'm too busy talking and thinking of what to say and not actually looking at what I'm doing. Alright, so you get a nice view here of the Downs. It's a bit odd because you sort of look at the Downs and it's not quite like this. You can see the Downs sort of in reality sort of come down roughly where I'm looking there, and there's a little gap, but you kind of follow this line. It doesn't feel like you're heading for it at all. Now it does, and there's also a road sort of in that sort of direction that goes the same way, and yeah, it's a little bit of a weird feeling because it feels like you're just ploughing straight toward the hills. And then you've got Southeast sort of pretty much just between them, and it's just odd. I don't really know. I think there might be a row of houses, and that might be about it, as far as I'm aware. Or maybe there's a whole village that I've never seen or never had really paid enough attention to notice. Who knows? Could be a whole town there. So, there we go. Coming into Southeast, where there is pretty much nothing. Yeah, look, whistle sign. I love how they still use a W to depict that you should sound your horn, even though it's a long time since trains have had whistles, although they do, don't they? There's probably a whistle somewhere on here. I'm gonna miss it. Am I? Yeah, I'm gonna miss it. Again. Not paying attention, am I? There you go. Southeast, just random. I mean, there's a cluster of houses over there. That will do. Nah, don't get off the train there, though. It's a shame you can't sort of select which doors are going to open and which ones aren't, because that could have been helpful in a situation. Yeah, it's just a bit of an odd place. Just doesn't seem to be any point to there being a station here, and it certainly wouldn't be this busy. My apologies if you actually live in Southeast. A little bit later on, actually, we'll pass Bishopstone, which is a little bit... Bishopstone seems to be too much part of Seaford, and Seaford seems like too much of a small town to have two stations. Again, my apologies if you live in Bishopstone. I'm not criticising. It's actually a fairly nice area, but you might say I don't know the area well enough. But I don't know. I've driven through it a few times, and yeah, it doesn't seem that bad. But I will admit I don't know the area all well enough to really make that assumption. So, New Haven Town is the next stop. Now, I've not spent a lot of time on the station at New Haven Town, but I have spent a little bit of time around the station. So we will look when we get there at the road layout and what it looks like from the station, and we will compare that to my experience of said station. So yeah, there's the other way. So these 313s are not I think they're quite old now. I think they were used originally in London, doing these sort of short hop commuter services around London, and now they've been brought down here. So they pretty much run 2 services in this area, and that is the one we're driving now, Brighton to Seaford and back again, and the other one is Brighton to Lewes and back again. And they seem to be the only services that these are actually being used on now. There might be some elsewhere in the country, but there's none that I'm aware of. But it's nice to have these because before you buy this pack, you're driving trains that don't actually operate down this part of the route. So it is nice to actually be operating a train that is actually in the right place. So here we come into New Haven. So that over there is actually where a lot of the local rubbish goes. And, I believe they burn it down and turn it into power. So essentially a local tip. It looks big and ugly and you can see it from miles around. So yeah, very industrial, this part of New Haven. You got Denton Island sort of there that I'm kind of looking at now. Yeah, it's not an island you'd want to actually go upon, to be honest. It's, as I say, it is very, very industrial. Alright, there's New Haven Town coming up. You got the bridge that goes across here, which is basically bypasses the whole area. Bypass the level crossing, which is nice to have. And you got the signal box there. Not quite sure why we would end up stopping all the way up this end of the platform, but there you go. There we go, stopped a bit better this time, didn't we? Right, let's do our hop out and make ourselves even later, shall we? Yep, whee. Right at this end. Yeah, the whirring of the train. Don't hear that so much on more modern trains. It's really all the stations are really busy. I don't quite get it. So this is what we can come and see. So you have some bus stops over there, and you can actually turn that way to come up there. There's not a barrier all the way across here. In fact, this barrier doesn't exist at all, I don't think. Maybe a little bit of the way up there, but not anything like that. And that looks too much of a dead end to me. But yes, you'd come up here and it would meet that, and then you go across the New Haven Swing Bridge. Yeah, you do have a roundabout that side, and there's all sorts of shops and things there. I think there's KFCs and Yeah, so discount shops and all that sort of stuff. I think there might be a Poundland. So yeah, you can kind of see what they're going for with the road networks, but not quite got it. Right, let's climb back up. Try and get past all these annoying punters. Close that. Well, it's better if you close the doors first, isn't it? I'm not doing well at all today. Right, next stop, New Haven Harbour. So, New Haven Harbour is a bit of an odd one because you wouldn't get off at New Haven Harbour to actually catch the ferry. You would get off at New Haven Town, and then all this here is sort of customs and all the rest of it you'd have to travel through. So you get to the ferry itself, which will come into view just as we round this corner. So yeah, New Haven Harbour really serves one purpose, and that is for those that work on the sort of harbour territories, really. Which again, I once did. So I used to work. So Brighton Hove buses have an outstation here, and I got transferred over to the outstation, which is actually on the port grounds. So you'd actually have to get through security and all the rest of it, which is just over there. So there's actually barriers there, and you have to come through that to then get anywhere. So all this is actually on port territory. You can get in and out fairly easily. It's not really a problem. And over there is New Haven Marine, which is now a disused station. That's the ferry over there. So we will have a better look around later. But yeah, this is pretty much what it is. It's a old rundown building that is never open and is literally looking like it's falling to bits. The station pretty much looks like it's falling to bits. And then you've got a really old rickety shelter on this side, and you literally just come off the end of the platform and that's the way on and off. That is it. So yeah, it is literally this much of a dive. How on earth did that happen? Right, let's lock the doors. We'll get going. So, as we get going, let's take an external view. So, yeah, what tends to happen is you've got all this sort of stuff, and most of the traffic around here is for industrial units that are on port territory, and this is all over there is all different units just outside the port. So that road where the car's going now is different. So where I used to work was actually over there where I'm looking now. You can see that lorry in the distance. That's where the buses used to be parked for New Haven Outstation. Yeah, it's Brian Ferries. That's not what it's called. But yeah, it's not exactly a thrilling sight. It's a bit of a dive, and yeah, unless you're actually getting the ferry to. See, this is the weird thing. You can get that ferry and you can go over to Dieppe on the ferry, and you get to Dieppe and that port is fantastic. It just feels very welcoming and fresh and modern. And the town itself is very fresh and modern, and then you come to New Haven and it's just... Yeah, if the port is like that, the rest of it ain't much better, let's put it that way. It's yeah, I mean the town centre's okay, but yeah, it's not exactly somewhere you would want to welcome foreign visitors, which is exactly what we do there. Here we go, Bishopstone. Yeah, it's warning me because coming up toward the end of the line now. Alright. As I say, this well, I think there is a caravan site here, but yeah, just seems a bit too much like a part of Seaford, really, to have its own station in this modern era. But having said that, I suppose there is enough housing around that it kind of makes sense. There must be some financial sense to having it, otherwise I'd have closed it. Right, last station now, Seaford. Which is not that far along at all. It's going to buzz at me now. Yeah. So if you are enjoying this, then give us a like. That would be really appreciated and really helps this channel. And yeah, it would also be really appreciated if you were to subscribe to the channel. That way you can keep up with content just like this, and also content from other simulators as well. But I do a fair amount of Train Simulator World content, so if that's what you're in for, then yeah, subscribing will not hurt. Slow right down to 15 as we come into Seaford. So yeah, you do get a lot of parked cars along here. No, is it this one? No, it's further back. Look. There we go. Yeah, you do get a lot of parked cars on the main road there, which can be a little frustrating. So, nice wide platform at Seaford. Feels like maybe it was supposed to have another line running across the other side of the platform. Not entirely sure. Although at least the station building looks fairly nice here. You might notice that I've missed out a lot of the collectibles on this line. I don't go in for that. Right, I will not open the doors. Instead, we will have a quick look around us. Go with the number 8. So, what you actually get at Seaford here, can we get any further up? No, we can't get any further up. Is you've got the high street that runs there. It's not like this at all. There is a high street that runs right there. So, in terms of whether scenery around the station has been realised, it ain't. But yeah, as I say, it kind of looks like there should be another track coming there, and I think maybe historically there was. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.